Hey everybody, it's Christina Holloway here. And today we're going to talk about understanding your career development or your career progression. Now, I have a number of clients who work at very big major corporations, and I also came from a background of working for a very large consulting company. And what I found recently is that a number of my clients that I talk to will tell me, I'm not so sure I like the job I have, or I'm not so sure I'm enjoying the work I'm doing. And so I'll ask them, exactly what do you want from this coaching? And part of the option is, if you decided you don't like this job, where else would you like to go? But they'll tell me, I'm not leaving. I can't leave this big company. I like it here too much. There's great benefits. There's great salary. I get visibility. There's prestige from having this job. And my follow-up question is, well, how much are you willing to sacrifice in order to identify yourself with this business? And this is what we're going to talk about today. Have you aligned yourself so much with a company where you work that it's starting to be the identifier for your career? Meaning you can't separate yourself from being an employee at a major prestigious company. Maybe you've gotten your dream job and you just can't imagine, now that you've potentially outgrown it, where are you going to go next? Today, we're going to talk about 5 questions that you can ask yourself if you feel like you're limiting your choices by wanting to stay at a company that offers a lot of perks, but not a lot of career advancement. All right? So let's get started. Number 1, ask yourself, where have you been? Now, you do want to take a look at your history, because redefining your history is a really powerful exercise. Every couple of years, you can take a look at your resume and ask yourself, is that really who I was? Is that really how I contributed to other companies or to my job? Is that really where I'm seeing progression? Are you seeing a nice upward tack? Are you seeing progress in the space where you always had goals and objectives? And what's the narrative that you can string together for yourself? You may find, when you ask yourself that question, that you remember you had bigger dreams for yourself, or you were supposed to be going in another direction, or you had skills that you didn't realize you had nurtured in that space, and then today you're not using them as much. And then ask yourself, is that really where I wanted to go away from that area? Now, we do grow and evolve, and we do start with jobs that really weren't the beginning of major careers. We pivot quite a bit. However, who you were when you showed up doing foundational work and remembering the type of dreams and aspirations you had back then, the type of assignments you gravitated toward, the way you interacted with the other people at the company, those things are foundational behaviors and attitudes and assumptions about who you are. And you want to tap back into that, understanding who you were back then and what your common storytelling thread is throughout your resume to this point is going to help you reconnect with those foundational goals that you are always had. And you do want to see if there's still alignment there. If there isn't alignment there, ask yourself, what is it going to take for me to reacquaint myself with that older version of me that still has value? Number 2, where are you going? So we've taken a look at your job history and your resume experiences, and here we are at today. So where do you think you're going to go from this point forward? And it's okay to have dreams. It's okay to have ambitions. It's okay to take detours. Sometimes we realize, there's other opportunities came up and we didn't actually end up doing what we thought we were going to do for this year, for the last 5 years. And all of that's fine. But you do want to understand where that dotted line is taking you. Is it radically going to take you in a new direction and you're excited and you have passion for that? Maybe you decided to drop everything and start a business. Then there's excitement in that space. You could be fulfilling a lifelong dream. Have you looked at the work you're doing and realized, I'm up for promotions, I have great respect for my boss? Or maybe you've just gotten a new job at a new company and you just can't wait to get started, but you're excited because you're going to share the next iteration of who you are as a leader, as somebody who's going to contribute in an innovative and compelling way. Anything like this, that you're excited about a path that you've charted for yourself. On the other hand, if you suddenly landed at a new company and you're very excited, but you're realizing that the past 10 years have limited your options, and you're starting to get inside a funnel that's keeping you from realizing bigger dreams, you have to ask yourself, where is this going to take me? And are these the choices that are best for me? And that leads me to the next point. Number 3, how will this job get you there? So you have goals and you have ideas for career development and career advancement. If they transferred you to a new job and you realize that's not really my gig, why did they put me here? You kind of want to have a conversation with yourself and say, can I correct this course at this company? Are my options now limited? And if that's the case, where else am I going to have opportunities? It's really important to make sure that you're not defining your career progress and your career advancement and your achievements only based on what one company is giving you. If you have a career and you've been there for a few years, you need to now start asking yourself, how am I going to have empowerment? And if I'm not feeling empowerment for the choices that I make, is this still the best option for me? And that leads me to number 4. Where am I finding fulfillment? Now, you could very well have a great job, and you could very well have some areas that are stagnant, meaning you haven't been promoted, or positions are not coming available very often, or there's really high turnover and you constantly have to reprove yourself to new leadership over and over again, especially these days. Now you're going to ask yourself, where am I finding fulfillment? Which means, are you still engaged with the work that you're doing? And is this great company the one that's a great safe harbor? Once you got in, you're going to get your benefits, you're going to get your salary, you're going to get your title. But is it still going to give you what you're looking for with that hunger you had for your career advancement? And if things start to become stagnant, where am I going to find that engagement again? Where is my fulfillment? So if you really like people management, that's great. If you've moved away from the tech support that was the original space where you enjoyed solving problems, and you're now, managing people who maybe are in engineering and you don't have much of an engineering background and you can't relate to them, you don't understand them, there's a lot of conflict, and you're asking yourself, how did I get here? And a coach says, well, where do you want to go? And the answer is, well, I can't leave. I've invested too much here. Where am I going to go? How am I going to get paid? How are people going to value me? What other company offers these kind of benefits? I've worked a long time here, 10, 15 years, right? And so I'll tell you this much. A company won't look at you and say, well, he's invested 10 or 15 years. We can't fire him, or we can't lay him off because we're running into cost problems. They will. So if you're not finding fulfillment, if you've been moved around, or you're asking yourself, should I really continue doing this work? And the bigger question for you is, how can I change my environment at this company so I suddenly re-engage with all the things I was passionate for before? Or how do I ask for what I really want without leaving, right? Now, if you're not finding that level of fulfillment, we're now at this point, this question is going to ask you, where else is your career going to take you? There's this part of you thinking back about who you are and what you want and what your career was supposed to look like before you got into a funnel at a major corporation that just puts you where they need you. Now, at the same time, you also need to take a look at what your narrative is and ask yourself, who are you independent of that company? And that leads me to number 5. What is your bigger vision? Once you have a clear understanding of who you are separate from the company, so if you worked at a major company and you were doing this people management, you moved away from the technical side and you went into the engineering side, you're not finding as much fulfillment, and you take a step back and you ask yourself, where was I going with this? What was this supposed to do for me? And I know for many of us, it's, I want to get into a really great company. I want to get the benefits. I want a really great retirement package, and I want to retire and feel safe and be okay, and be able to afford my mortgage and afford some vacations, or maybe put my kids through college. And those are basic financial needs that a major company, once I get in, can give me. And I'm not going to be too greedy when it comes to asking for a whole lot of fulfillment, as long as they can give me those things so that I can survive. I get it. Now, the other half, though, is when you reach that point of, I'm no longer satisfied with this work. This is becoming drudgery, and I can't stand the thought of Monday morning coming and getting back into all of this type of stuff. And I'm asking myself, where's my career development? Because what if you were supposed to get promoted and they kept passing you up? Those benefits for that next level of management or senior management, they're not coming. So now you're stuck at a company where they're not really acknowledging you, and you're just a little stagnant. And you're asking yourself, I'm not getting any personal satisfaction. And also, they don't seem to be getting any kind of benefit from keeping me in this one space instead of promoting me through the ranks to continue on my career trajectory. So we want to separate ourselves from identifying as I'm an employee of Acme. I'm an employee of big corporation number one. And we now want to say, my career was based on how I manage people, how I solve problems, how I create innovation in new verticals or new spaces. And then tell yourself, the new narrative is, I can do those things anywhere. However, I choose to stay here, because eventually you want to get to that space where you realize that your bigger vision for your life and your purpose and your career especially is the choices that you make. So you lean into your strengths, and you get rewarded for that work by getting a promotion and getting raises, getting acknowledgments or maybe awards. And then you start identifying with, my solutions are part of me. And it's less about the solutions I provided to the company, but it's more about the solutions that I created out of my own innovative ideas. And when you get into a frustrating space where you've suddenly said everything about me is related to the company where I work, you put yourself in a dangerous space. It's easy for them to say, we no longer need to work with you, or we've decided to pivot in a new direction, and you become so isolated or so singular in thought that this is the only answer you have. Then we might not need to work with you anymore. And then they've chosen for you to cut ties. You don't ever want to be in a position where they decided for you that they no longer want to work with you. You do want to be in a position to keep asking yourself, am I giving the best effort, and am I getting the best in return in terms of fulfillment and engagement? If I'm not, I need to start asking questions about where else I could go. And if it's important for you to stay inside the company to do that, that's fine, as long as you can continue to find re-engagement. If you can't, you're also at a crossroads where you can ask yourself, where are my solutions now going to be valuable outside this company? Because the most important thing for you is to continue to move forward. And as long as you're continuing to negotiate for yourself to get better benefits, to get a title, to get a salary bump, to be paid what you're worth, and understand the value that you provide at a company, the more likely you'll be to ask for what you deserve, and then keep moving forward in a space that continues to appreciate what you contribute, whether that's at that company or whether it's somewhere else. I mean, I just recently had more than one client, at least two, who've told me, who am I if I don't work at this company? And I've had quite a few people tell me, I'm so frustrated. I cannot stay here anymore. I don't like this job. I don't like my boss. I don't like this department. And I'll say, where do you want to go? Well, I can't leave. I'm kind of stuck. And so what we want is to relearn exactly what it means to have fulfillment and what it means to have a really great job. And there's more to it than just saying it's the prestige of a company with that name. It is a resume builder. And it is great if you can get in there. But what you want to do, the most important thing you want to do, is to ask yourself, what am I going to get out of that company for the time that I'm there? And how can I leverage that experience for bigger things for myself, for my own career development, for the dream that I have, for where I want to be when I'm ready to retire? And what if I'm ready to retire when I'm 50 or 55 instead of 65 or 70? How is that going to contribute to my dreams and my goals? If this company is slowing you down, even though it's great and prestigious, ask yourself how you can leverage that experience to get back on track for the bigger goals that you have for yourself. A company like that, a major company that is a lot of prestige, is not looking out for your best interests, not in a negative way, just they have other priorities. So overall, They do want to see where you fit at the company, what you're going to contribute for the time you're there, and how they can compensate you fairly. But beyond that, it's always about you asking yourself, what am I going to do with this experience, and how am I going to leverage it for as long as I can until I can position myself strongly? All right, so that's it for this video on figuring out if you're identifying too much with the company as a way of defining your career. If you're struggling in this space and realize I'm not happy, but I'm not leaving, then consider asking yourself any one of these 5 questions to regain perspective on who you are, why you're showing up, and what kind of career really matters to you personally. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.